A lot of the guests that we've spoken to these last 48 hours have told us, largely, not unanimously, it's probably a wise idea to position for some sort of slowdown ahead. Is that a good prescription to start with?
So I think, obviously, if you're looking at the global picture, actually some of the data's been a bit more reassuring. If you're looking at China, obviously the challenges are very well known, and the economy is looking like it's going to weaken in the near future. I guess the challenge from a Chinese perspective is on multiple fronts. They're struggling to manage this slowdown. Obviously, they're stimulating the economy slightly on the sidelines, but not really any big bazooka being used. And I think they're trying to avoid a Japan-like situation. I mean, a lot of people comparing the situation they're in now to what Japan went through. I think they're a long way from that, but I think they're very cognizant of the fact that they don't want to go there. So at the moment, they're doing softly. They're not trying to lead to a strong rebound in debt to spur economic activity and trying to have this middle line. So that's underwhelming investors, generally speaking. Obviously, you see that there the markets are doing well today based on what happened in the US overnight. But I think the skepticism about the strength of the Chinese economy is likely to be with us for some weeks and months to come.
Steve, I mean, we've seen these outflows out of China. Do you expect a reversal of those? The thing is, where would you invest and how are you investing in China? It's interesting because it's all doom and gloom. We can also look at this retail sales, but they made actually quite a move on the 17th of the month by starting to release something which is called service retail data, because so many Chinese are now spending not on goods but on experiences and services, and that's seen some exponential growth, something like 20% so far this year. So there are bright spots.
Yeah, there are, and I guess the question is, how is that translating through to the stock market? And I think that's where the concern is. I mean, you look at even on the earnings front, though. Earnings obviously picked up from a very weak performance last year. Earnings have picked up quite strongly this year, and you'd think with the weak valuation or low valuations, that would transpire into being a much stronger market activity than we've seen so far this year. So there are bright spots, as you mentioned, from an economic perspective, but the overall malaise and picture is still pretty challenging. And you have this sort of uninvestable story coming from the West in particular. I must admit, when anybody says that a market is uninvestable, my ears prick up and start getting interested. But I guess we're just still getting this wave of bad news coming out, obviously the latest ones regarding the financial system and some risks of defaults there. So overall, I think it is a challenging environment for investors.
So are there better sort of ways to play this market? I mean, I do take out the U.S. and I look at the soft landing scenario that seems to be really playing out in this market now. And then you have these NVIDIA earnings, which seems to me reigniting this whole AI trade once again.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's maybe come to NVIDIA later. We can talk about Asia within Asia. I mean, certainly the India story in the short term or in the long term looks very compelling, right? So obviously you've got China, which is cheap, but potentially a value trap. And then you've got India, which is expensive, but you have much greater visibility, we think, in both the economic outlook. The political outlook is obviously pretty stable at the moment in India, and that's often been the challenge with the Indian market, but it's less of a challenge, it seems, at the moment. But also that economic growth translates into earnings growth as well over the long run. So from a structural perspective, we see the Indian market as a very interesting place to be invested and maintaining an allocation.